This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey, welcome to the WWE Podcast Mailbag. It is Thursday, September 22nd, 2022. It is time to hear from you guys, and let's just dive in. But before I do that, I want to let you know that next week is our 100th episode of this show, and I'm thinking about doing something a little special, so we'll see. I may end up going live on YouTube for patrons only. I may be doing that, so keep an eye out, patrons, if you want to join us on a live feed, a special live feed that's going to take place next week. I don't have the exact day and time, but to celebrate the mailbag and ask questions live, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. So if you aren't a patron yet, now's a good time to do it because you'll be able to get that live stream as well as get priority placement in the podcast, in the mailbag every single week, and ad-free everything. So patreon.com/WWE Podcast if you want to join us. I really hope that you do. Okay, let's, speaking of patrons, get to their emails. Only a couple this week. It was a quiet week, but let's get to Jeff. And he says, hey, Matt, big props to bringing the positive attitude day in and day out. Excuse me. It kind of felt like weeks prior you were at a Byron Saxton energy level. And once football season hit, you've been ramped up to an Ultimate Warrior energy level, and I'm loving it. It also feels like there's more content churning out now, too, and it helps make the workday fly by. Okay, at first, when I saw this, I thought you were just kind of mocking me because I have been ridiculed many times, not necessarily on Patreon, but on Apple Podcasts or whatever, for being so negative and constantly complaining. And at first, I thought you were just kind of messing with me and you're about to tell me to stop being so negative. But no, I'm glad that you genuinely feel that I'm being positive. And I just always feel like I call it like I see it. I don't think I come in here with a predetermined outlook on anything. I just watch the show and then I give you how I feel about it. And, if it's been more positive, then, that's great. And I do think it has been, honestly. I mean, I'm not going to pretend it hasn't been. I think that the change of leadership over in WWE had a lot to do with it. And yeah, I think that's really the biggest reason. It's just kind of giving everybody a second breath here, a second chance at making things better in WWE. And I think Triple H has a lot to look forward to. We have a lot to look forward to, but thank you. Okay, let's continue with your email here. And you say that your question this week is, I'd like to address the true heel problem you've been referencing lately. I feel like after the Attitude Era and the rise of the anti-hero, it developed into a generation of fans who love heels. I myself am one. I appreciate the heel's ability to draw heat, and I cheer them that no matter what form it comes in. They can bash my hometown, my sports team, and I love it. I think that's what's happening with Rollins and Reigns. All that being said, I don't see how it's possible to develop that true heel anymore if people appreciate or cheer their heat. Do you? Also, do you consider the most true? What do you consider, or who do you consider to be the most recent true heel in WWE only? Oh, well, that's a little bit tough because I was going to say MJF. But do you take that away? I would say Randy Orton in his run with Edge during the pandemic era that was really, unfortunately, just stifled by the pandemic era. I also think when Edge was briefly in the Judgment Day, he was doing a nice job as a heel, and many people weren't cheering him. The same goes for Dominic Mysterio. While the heel in the conventional sense is, to me, a true heel in today's sense has been a bit warped by what has happened in the last 25 to 30 years because of the anti-hero. To me, the problem is that WWE has redefined, or rather unintentionally, I guess, redefined what a heel is, because they've tried to take a heel and make them into something cool that they can market. And I think marketing gets in the way of heel heat. And with them being a for-profit organization, them trying to get sing-along songs and cool catchphrases and everything else has really contradicted what makes a great heel, because heels typically don't make a whole lot of money in years past because people don't want to buy the merchandise and be associated with that. You could also argue a true heel recently. Roman Reigns is a babyface. I guess going the other way, right? Roman Reigns as a babyface was the best heel that WWE had, and they didn't even know it. I mean, you want to feel real heel heat? Look at the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania 33. Take a look at that one. Why don't you tell me what that one sounded like and looked like? It really comes down to commitment on creatives and the talent's part, because I think that creative and talent themselves have been a bit brainwashed into what a true heel is today. And when you see one come along, people don't know what to do. Their minds explode, like MJF. And I know you said WWE only, but how can we not talk about the best heels of today without talking about MJF? You talk about a guy that's committed in and out of the ring. Man, oh man. I'm really looking forward to MJF in WWE. I truly believe he will be in WWE in the next 15 months when his contract expires in January of 24. So, all right. Well, I could dive into this much, much deeper, but in the interest of time, let's keep going here. Thank you, Jeff, so much. Let's talk to, good God Almighty, it's the G-Man. I can't believe it's been almost 3 whole months, but the G-Man has returned. And man, am I really enjoying WWE right now. It's really great to see Dominic as a heel, and the Raw crowd were sure making loud boos. And if you really want to give Dom heat, he needs to go up to his father, Ray, and say that his Uncle Eddie is a better father than he ever was. Yes. Eddie needs to be incorporated into this, as well as Vicky Guerrero. I mean, obviously Eddie physically can't. Vicky can. And I really, really think Vicky Guerrero could come into this story and be able to add such a great element, a deeper element to this whole thing. And if they don't bring up the Eddie Guerrero end of things and the whole putting Dominic up for custody, how do they not go back to that? It's right there. Maybe they will. There's still time. They're playing the long game. Triple H is playing the long game with Dominic versus Ray, and I love it. But okay, so let's see. He definitely could get heat depending on where they go with him in these coming months. Do you think Alexa Bliss will be women's champion again in her career? I don't see Alexa as babyface for long, so I think sometime next year she will be women's champion again as a heel, and that's going to be a lot of fun. She was damn good when she was champ, and I miss that. What's crazy to think is in 2018, that was the last time she held the women's championship that I can remember. Big shout out to Michael and John on the SmackDown review. You guys do an excellent job every single week. And lastly, welcome back, DJ Kuzmo. I hope you are okay, buddy. And man, it's great to hear his voice again. He definitely makes the great alarm voice. If you guys have trouble getting up from bed, DJ will get you up, no problem. Yeah, DJ, I really think that they should make an alarm clock with you. I mean, like just form some kind of contractual agreement with like Timex or one of those like companies that who creates alarm clocks anymore, physical ones? I don't know. Everyone uses their phone, but you could just, how about this? You create like an alarm tone, not an alarm clock, because I think those are passe. Create an alarm tone and then put it on the App Store, and make a few bucks and just say, hello, WWE Podcast World. Like, just, that's it. And just have it on repeat over and over. Like, that would make millions. So, or at least our patrons would buy it. So, okay, let's see. He definitely makes the great alarm voice, as I said. And if you have trouble getting up from bed, DJ will get you up, no problem. Good week for football, as my Philadelphia Eagles are 2-0. The Giants are 2-0. Not really sure how, but they are. But I expect to do better than last year. I expect they did better to do better than last year. All right, everyone, and Matt, talk to you later. Well, thanks, G-Man. Yeah, right now, I know we don't talk about football a lot here. Giants 2-0, Philly 2-0. I think Cowboys are 1-1. I think are the Commanders, formerly Redskins, 0-2. But yeah, right now it's bizarre that the Giants are undefeated. It's don't forget. I mean, they could still go 2-15. Okay. Like, there's still time to tank the season. Maybe they're just getting their couple of wins now, and then the rest of the season is an absolute bomb. I mean, I'm not trying to be pessimistic here, but being a Giants fan, it has over the last several years anyway, has not exactly been a admirable trait that you want to publicize. Okay. So it's been a shameful decade. Okay. All right. Well, speaking of DJ, he does have an email for us, and he says, "This is DJ Kuzma back at it again on your Mailbag show. Let's get into a few quick hits on factions. Is it me, or am I seeing a lot of factions in the WWE on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT? Specifically on the main roster, we have Damage Control, the Judgment Day on Raw, and on SmackDown, there's about 4 factions: the Bloodline, the Brawling Brutes, Maximum Male Models. That's probably going to break up via the return of the LA Knight gimmick. And last but not least, Imperium. I can't remember the last time that WWE had so many factions all at once. I don't know if WWE is taking note of the huge amount of 3-person teams in AEW, because it's bizarre to me in a good way that we have all of these factions or squads or stables all at once. With that being said, with the news of War Games at Survivor Series, what sets of factions would you likely want to see feud? Because so far, I potentially see a Bloodline versus Imperium versus Brawling Brutes match, and maybe a Toxic Attraction versus Damage Control versus whatever the Bianca Belair trio's name is. Because to me, in my opinion, I don't see any chemistry with the Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka. No, I see zero chemistry with them. I like the Imperium, Brawling Brutes, and Bloodline. Hell yes. That's actually was going to, not to cop out, but that was going to be my pick as well for the Survivor Series War Games match. I like it. I do. And the fact that there are so many factions, I like it too. Now, I think I would kind of pause a little bit. We don't need everyone to be in a faction. There's a balance there. But for so long, we didn't get this, and it's nice to see. Dom and Rhea. I got to say, watching this storyline unfold of Dom and Rhea every Monday is a must-see. TV. Rhea and Dom are surprisingly the same age in real life. Are they really? No way. That's almost impossible to believe. And the storyline of Rhea controlling Dom with the wait for it, mind games, oh my God, is being played out more and more, with Rhea whispering in Dom's ears and Dom proclaiming, "I have a new mommy." By the way, we need a "I got a new mommy" merch shirt. Yes, please, along with "Who's your daddy" for Austin Theory. Yes. Just a quick side note. Remember in 2020 when Ray's daughter Aaliyah was in a romantic relationship with Buddy Murphy? Didn't it feel cringeworthy? Didn't it feel eye-rolling to watch? Yes and yes. The storyline didn't have any substance as to why Aaliyah would want to be with Buddy Murphy. Aaliyah was a terrible actor, and the whole storyline became stale and kind of imploded, never to see the light again. You know who's the worst actor of the entire family? Or actress? The mom. Ray's wife, though. Like, she is... I mean, everyone else is bad. And to their credit, that's not what they do, right? Like, they're coming in as amateurs, so to speak. So I get it's not easy, but the worst is the mom. She is just putrid as far as like acting goes, yeah. But yeah, her making out with Buddy Murphy made no sense at all. A lot of things in the pandemic era didn't, because it wasn't a whole lot of consequences. But yeah, I remember that. It was weird. Now back to Dom and Rhea. Here is a substance to the storyline. Because Dom wants to be his own man and not in the shadows of his dad, it's interesting to see where this storyline goes next and what happens, because the main focus is not Judgment Day anymore. And who exactly is the leader of the group, and what's their purpose? I don't know who the leader is. It feels like Damian Priest. What's their purpose? Just to beat people up? I mean, they can say it 100 different ways, but that's their purpose. What's going on? What's going on with the Street Profits? They have kind of become here and there, hit and miss for a while. Since being out of the tag title contention, not really make an impact on Monday Night Raw. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with them either. They actually, remember they teased them breaking up and we're like, okay, here we go. And then they didn't do it. Remember those days? Like, 2 months ago? Yeah, I guess they're staying together for a while. What's going on with Bobby Lashley? He had an amazing match this past Monday, but prior to this match, he hasn't been as relevant in contrast to Gunther in what he's doing with the IC title. That's all for now. Catch y'all on the voicemail side. Well, yes, looking forward to it, DJ. I don't know what's going on with Bobby. It's weird right now with Bobby. They don't know what to do with him right now. They, stick him in the title match. He did awesome with Seth Rollins. It was one of the greatest match of the show, I thought. I just don't think that they have a solid path for him right now. So, all right, let's get to Levi. And he says, hey, I was looking at the WWE news websites, and apparently a lot of live events have been playing this song called White Rabbit, and people think it's teasing the return of a possessed man himself, Bray Wyatt the Fiend. Now, if he returns, I don't know if he'll be the Fiend. I want him to return as a Fiend, but I don't know. I have also heard that Survivor Series, they will have 2 War Games matches made famous by NXT, and also wanted to say where the honk is... I'm not sure what you mean. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. I wanted to say where the honk is Randy Orton. I personally think he will return at Extreme Rules. Oh, where the heck, or maybe another word, is Randy Orton? So you think he's going to return at Extreme Rules? So I don't know. I mean, I actually haven't heard about an injury report on Randy, and Riddle hasn't mentioned Randy in a while either. So I don't know what's going on there. Extreme Rules feels too early to me. I would look more towards the end of the year, Rumble time, honestly. That's the timeline we were given in the first place, but take that with a grain of salt. I don't know if that has any teeth to it as well with the whole White Rabbit thing and Bray Wyatt. People have been grasping at straws and looking at everything WWE does as some kind of hint that Bray Wyatt's returning. I don't know. It really would depend on his mental state because he was very close with John Huber. So they got to get him mentally straight and make sure that he's ready to come back if he wants to. Now, would he come back as the Fiend? What else is he going to come back as? The Fiend was over. People would lose it. Thanks, Levi. Let's get to, I believe this is our final email. This is from Jeff from the Philippines, and he says, number 1, I'm such a huge fan of Motionless in White. That's why I'm glad they are the ones who made Rhea Ripley's new theme song. The title of the song is Demon in Your Dreams, and a female demon who appears in men's dreams is a succubus. In other variations, the succubus is an enchantress who appears as an attractive woman in order to control a man. It seems like Rhea's character is this type of demon that uses her charm to control Dominic. It could be, but he was also calling her mommy, not baby, right? So unless there's also quasi-incest going on top of demonic possession, I hear what you're saying, Jeff. It's a nice analogy, or rather connection that you've made, and I just have a little bit of trouble believing that that's what's going on with Rhea. But like you said, the title of that song, or rather that song, it's good. All right. Number 2, Tony Khan shoots again on WWE. He said that New York is the real crown jewel of the wrestling market and not some BS in Saudi Arabia. In his statement, he sounded like he's attacking the fans. Wrestling is not even in other places like Japan and the UK. Although we don't like Crown Jewel as a premium live event because it's just filler, the fans in that area still enjoy wrestling. I know for political reasons I might have been the cause of this statement, but it sounded like he's attacking the fans. Yeah, Tony Khan is not in the best position right now. For all the money he's got, it's not good. Not good. All right, number 3. I rarely have time to watch series because of the amount of wrestling I consume every week. Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, Rampage, and Impact. Sometimes I watch New Japan and Stardom. What are your top 3 wrestlers outside of WWE? Mine are Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, and MJF. Well, MJF to me is number 1. And no doubt about it. MJF, number 1 to me. Will Ospreay to me, number 2. And I'd say number 3... Jungle Boy? No. I don't know. Probably Moxley. That's such a cop-out of a list, I know. That's all for the day. Thank you. Well, thank you, Jeff, for getting on the show and being able to write into us. So, okay, let's get to that voicemail portion of the show. Everybody get ready. If you're not awake, you're about to be. Here we go.
Hello, WWE Podcast World. This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show. Recorded to you live once again on a Tuesday evening, and it's good to say back on a Tuesday evening because if y'all didn't know last week, I am back on the Mailbag, and I am here to bring the shock to your system. Let's go! Now, let's get to what's going on right now in the WWE, and let's talk about what's going on SmackDown with the Bloodline. And man, oh man, how sweet it was to see everybody except for Roman Reigns last week Friday night on SmackDown come on the show, the whole Bloodline minus Roman Reigns. And I gotta say, the Bloodline re-rolling deep. So put your ones in the air and acknowledge the Bloodline. I'm talking about Roman Reigns. I'm talking about the Usos, Jay and Jimmy Uso. I'm talking about Solo Sikoa. I'm talking about Paul Heyman. And last but not least, none other than our honorary Us, Sami Zayn. Woo! And I'm talking about this great storyline that has culminated over the past 2 years now, from when we got started with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman to now what we have, one of the most deepest factions in all of WWE. And I gotta say, guys, Matt, this is the question I have for you. Do you think that the Bloodline needs one more member, whether it's a female, whether it's somebody from NXT, to add to this deep faction, or is 6 good enough? So that's the question I'm posing to you, Matt. That's the question I'm posing to the rest of the WWE podcast universe, uniworld, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, let's get back to another big topic that's happening right now in the WWE, and I'm talking about the White Rabbit. Who is the White Rabbit? What is the White Rabbit? And when is the White Rabbit showing up? And if you don't saw last night on Monday Night Raw, something about 9/23, and of course, this coming Friday night is 9/23. So is the White Rabbit gonna come and show his face or her face or whoever this coming Friday night on SmackDown on 9/23 at 9/23 Eastern Standard Time? Who knows? Who could be the White Rabbit? Bray Wyatt? Killer Cross? Or is it my guy, Veer Mahan? Who knows? Who knows the exact, I guess you could say, the timing or whoever it's going to be? I can't wait. I'm excited for that 9/23 on Friday night, this coming Friday night on SmackDown. And man, oh man, I can't wait. So shout out to everybody on the Mailbag. This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again. Have a blessed week. Peace, y'all.
All right, everybody, that is DJ Kuzmo. Good to hear from him. It just doesn't feel right without him on the Mailbag, right? So good to hear from you, DJ. And I don't know who the White Rabbit is. Everybody is speculating about it, and it could be Bray Wyatt, but I feel like he's a Monday Night Raw guy, and I feel like they'd also hump. I'm so tired, guys. I almost, you know what? I'm not going to edit that out. Normally, I say things or do things, or I literally fall asleep on the mic and I have to edit it. I'm going to leave that in. So I'm going to leave the word hump in for no reason. Oh my God. Now I got my hump. My lovely. Let's see. Sorry, guys. What have I done? It's late right now when I'm recording this. What the hell was I talking about? Oh, the White Rabbit. Everybody seems to assume that it's Bray. I don't think that that's the case. I think it's probably somebody else we're not thinking of, an NXT star. I don't believe it'll be Bray Wyatt. I would imagine, like, they would hype that up a lot more, and it'd be a longer build to his debut or return. So, and like, what's the White Rabbit even have anything to do with Bray Wyatt? I know he's spoken circles the last, like, his entire career he spoke in circles, and we were all supposed to decode it. I don't think that's going to be the case here. I don't think it has anything to do with Bray, but I could be wrong. But okay, your question though about does the Bloodline need another member? The answer is no. I mean, I honestly, I don't even need to think about it. You've got Roman Reigns, you've got Paul Heyman, you've got the two Usos, you've got Solo Sikoa. You've got Sami Zayn. 6. I don't think you need another one. You just don't. You don't need any more. but I understand the temptation. I just think that people are just growing so tired of this that to continue to build on this faction would just, it would just add more fuel to the fire for fans. So thank you, DJ. And yes, please keep an eye on the Veer Mahan report. I need to, on a weekly basis, know exactly what he's doing. So, all right. Thank you, DJ. Let's get to the next voicemail here.
Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore. So, a few things here. One is about Cody Rhodes potentially coming back, and if he does, him going after Roman Reigns is like, I don't want to see that. I don't know what people will see in Cody Rhodes. I feel like he's all hype. The guy hasn't been treated well. He did defeat Rollins 3 straight times, which I didn't like, but he's all hype in my opinion. For anyone who never watched him in AEW, which is myself, it's like here's a guy who was Stardust. All of a sudden he comes back as his new character and now defeats Rollins in 3 straight pay-per-views, which was stupid. And he's going to be taken seriously to defeat Roman Reigns for the championship. I think that's laughable. And it's also another thing that's laughable is having Logan Paul facing Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel in November. It's also laughable too as well. Roman Reigns needs to show up on Raw to say he's like Bobby Lashley or even Seth Rollins, not Logan Paul or even Cody Rhodes, who who aren't credible to defeat Roman Reigns in a match. That even includes Cody Rhodes. Again, I feel like he's all hype, but that's just how I personally feel about it. But I'll give your thoughts on that. But thanks for the call. Bye.
Hey, Kyle. So I know you're frustrated with Logan Paul. I understand as a fan, from a viewing perspective, it doesn't make sense. He doesn't deserve it. People booted on SmackDown because they felt it was disrespectful. He didn't earn it. And all of that is 100% true. The problem is that money talks, and the money that WWE makes from those Saudi Arabia events, from the government of Saudi Arabia, from the prince himself, is just egregious, and they can't leave that money on the table. So guess what Saudi gets? They get what they want. Anything Saudi Arabia wants in terms of matchups, WWE makes happen. So they felt that they had Logan Paul as a bigger social media star than Kevin Owens or Seth Rollins, and they'd be right. And if they want maximum eyeballs on the company, then yeah, Logan Paul is probably a better option. But from a storyline perspective, from logical perspective, from a respect perspective, of course not. Of course Logan Paul has no business being in the ring for the championship. So, all right. Thanks, Kyle. Let's get to our next voicemail.
Hey Matt, it's New York, aka Permafire Kyle, back again. First off, I want to say, I can't believe you didn't know what the War Games match was. Yeah, it's a big thing in NXT. That's how you know it. Like, if you just watch Raw and SmackDown, don't know much about NXT, you probably have no idea what it was. You looked it up, like you said. If you've been watching NXT for a few years though, it's War Games is kind of a big deal down there, basically. And Triple H is bringing it to the main roster. There's a Survivor Series, but it was kind of a big deal in NXT. War Games is a big thing. It literally had its own takeover every year, like during Survivor Series weekend. It was that big. Second, the other thing you want to know what the Fight Pit match was. It's basically a bigger steel cage with like walkways on the sides of it, like little ledges in the middle of it. It's hard to explain. Just look at a picture of it. It's hard to explain. Think of it as, if you remember the Ambrose Asylum when Moxley was Dean Ambrose, and he had that one that stipulation he made up called the Ambrose Asylum? It's basically Ambrose Asylum. And if you're wondering like how did they just make this name up? No, for the Fight Pit match, they've done 2 of them in NXT. It's another NXT thing, just like War Games. They've had 2 Fight Pit matches in NXT. Funny enough, Matt Riddle's in both of them actually. It's kind of funny he's fighting Seth in this one. He was in both the other 2, so he's literally, this is the 3rd Fight Pit match in WWE, and Matt Riddle has been in all 3. So that's cool. The first one, he fought Ciampa, Tommaso Ciampa. And I forgot who won. No, was it Ciampa? I don't remember. I think it was him versus someone. I think it was Ciampa, I'm not sure. And the second one was him and Timothy Thatcher, who's another NXT star that got released during the pandemic. So yeah, Matt Riddle's been in both of the matches. So it was 2 of them in NXT. So basically the Fight Pit and the War Games are both an NXT thing. Also, before 3 minutes are up, shout out to DJ Kuzmo. Great to hear you again. And that's it for now. Talk to you guys next time.
Hey, buddy. So I'm glad you're able to educate me on this because, I mean, I know what they are now because I can Google it. But yeah, I just didn't watch NXT. I mean, I'm not even going to pretend I did. It's funny when you mentioned that. Oh well, they had all these the pay-per-view names, War Games, and I'm thinking, yeah, they did. But I thought it was just a gimmick of the name. I didn't know it was an actual match type. I thought it was just calling it like Survivor Series. There's no match called Survivor Series, right? It's just that's the name of it. So that's what I thought it was. It was just kind of some generic name for the pay-per-view, but obviously it's much more than that. So thank you for that, and thank you for the Fight Pit match education. Apparently, I missed a lot of stuff if I missed NXT because I knew generally who the people are, kind of high level. I know what's happening, but not really very well. That's kind of where I was at with with NXT, and so now I'm paying for it by embarrassing myself on my own show, not knowing what any of these match types are. So it's a win-win for everybody. All right, thanks, buddy. Let's get on to the next one.
WWE Podcast. Acknowledge me. That's right. It's Mr. Casual Wrestling fan here, everybody. And I'm sorry, man. I'm going to go ahead and let you know. I'm probably going to go way past 3 minutes. So, hey, just patch my stuff together. But I got to go on a rant for you guys. Because last week I listened to the Mailbag show, and you guys have been ragging on your tribal chief, the head of the table, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. And it's going to stop today. We're going to set the record straight for everybody. Because I think everybody's forgetting the truth. Okay? Let's get it right. Your champion has been champion for over 2 years now. He's had over 20 defenses of his title. And before anybody says he's a part-time champion, he's this, he's that, guess what, you guys? Do the math. He's had over 20 defenses. I think it's 23 or 24. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to say over 20. But let's take it at that. That's one a month. That's one title defense a month. All right? So, once again, wrestling fans, I remember you, Matt, and a few other people saying, hey, the WWE Championship is defended too much. It's on free TV. They defended it every pay-per-view. It only should be defended on big pay-per-views. Y'all remember saying that? Well, guess what? That's what you're getting. You're not getting Roman Reigns on these B pay-per-views. You're getting Roman Reigns on A pay-per-views, which is what you wanted. If you remember, so wrestling fans, remember what you asked for. Don't get mad when you get what you asked for. Just be happy that they're listening. Because they listened to you when you said that. I'm tired of seeing it on free TV. I'm tired of them defending it at every pay-per-view. The championship should feel special. It should feel special when the champion's there. Guess what? It does feel special now. You feel special when you see Roman Reigns. Guess what else? Everybody. Now, you guys that call in and y'all rag on Roman Reigns, you might not like Roman Reigns, but guess what? The WWE Universe says that you the twos and we the ones. And we standing with our tribal chief. So, for everybody out here that's saying, oh, man, I'm tired of it, the fans is turning. The fans not turning. The fans like Roman. The fans have the ones in the air. The fans are still riding with the tribal chief. That's why he gets cheered most of the time. Now, I know my time's back up. I'm going to have to call back in, Matt, so I expect you to patch in because I got some more points to make on this rant I'm taking. So, tune in to the next one. It's coming up right now.
Oh man! All right. So I got some things to say too, and I'll let you play your other part in a minute. But I'm gonna stop you there because let me clear the air here. Let me clarify when I was talking about, because there's a lot to unpack here. But I'll start with this. When I said that I wanted championship matches off of free TV, I still stand by that. I still stand by that today. That goes for every championship, not just the Universal Championship, which they don't really defend on free TV. They've only done that a handful of times. That's not really what I'm complaining about with the WWE Undisputed Championship. That whole rant was directed at the fact that they defend the Women's Championship on a weekly basis. They're still doing this. The Tag Team Championships seemingly on a weekly basis. The Intercontinental Championship has been put on the line. The United States Championship seems like it's on, I feel like that's defended twice per week. That's a long-standing issue that I've had, and I continue to have it. And if they did that with the Universal Championship, I would still advise against it. That doesn't change the fact that Roman Reigns right now is in the minds of fans. He may be getting cheered, and I think fans might be ready to embrace him as a babyface, but the storyline has run its course. This is the problem. Roman Reigns and WWE have run through, and you're right, he has defended his championship 20 times in 2 years, 25 months. So if we want to get technical, 20 times in 25 months. Let's just pretend that it's once a year or once a month. Let's just go with that for argument's sake. But it does feel like he is defending it, or it didn't defend it as much as the numbers say, but the numbers don't lie. But here's the problem. Those numbers are mostly including the Universal Championship. When they took the WWE Championship and merged it with the Universal, that took away any other title defense that any other person could have on Raw. They took a title away from Raw. So those championship numbers, those title defenses, were really just mostly with the Universal Championship only, not after post-WrestleMania. Because if you remember, Roman Reigns didn't defend that belt for like 2 months after he won it at WrestleMania. And then he's defended it, like a couple times since WrestleMania? I mean, ever since he had his schedule change and his contract expire and he said he was going into a new phase of his career, that's where he really just kind of went MIA. And again, I'm not angry about that for him. I think that's great. Hell, I'd love to work a part-time schedule and make millions. Good for him. But those numbers, if you're going to stand by those numbers, you got to remember that was for the Universal Championship when people weren't subject to only Roman Reigns as a top champion. You still had somebody else on Monday Night Raw to lean on. And yeah, Brock Lesnar ends up winning it, but we had Big E, right, before that. So those numbers are probably 80% applicable to the Universal Championship. That's something that needs to be said, okay? Not post-WrestleMania. The biggest problem fans have now, I would argue, is yes, Roman Reigns is still champion, but there's no other champion on Raw. I didn't ask for that. Nobody asked for that. Nobody wanted the titles merged. Vince did. Nobody wanted to do this and then have Roman go back into hiding, not allow a top champion to exist on Raw at all. So people do cheer Roman. They are not sick of Roman Reigns seeing Roman Reigns. They're just sick of the storyline existing. The storyline existing is the problem. Of him holding both championships hostage. There's no one else that can compete for anything. And you also know that the top championship match that Roman Reigns has, whoever it's against, you can already tell months in advance if he's going to win or lose. You knew every single match that he had with Brock Lesnar that Roman was going to win. You knew it before you saw it. Roman didn't lose to Brock Lesnar, and nor should he have. But the problem is Roman Reigns is on a different level. So when you put him against these certain guys, you know before the match even match has started that this person ain't going to beat Roman. For the majority of his run, you knew with high confidence that Roman Reigns was going to win. So his matches, and some of them have been very good, the outcomes have been super predictable. And so that's also another problem. Let me just boil it down. And then I'll hear your second message, which should be a fun one. This whole problem that I have, and I will 1,000,000% still stand by, championships should not be given away on free TV on a regular basis. And we're still getting that. I'm not changing my opinion on that. That's exactly what I asked for, and that's exactly what I want to get, is championships off of free TV. I don't want it on free TV. And you know what? Roman Reigns doesn't defend it on free TV. Good. I don't want him to. I'm getting exactly what I want. Perfect. Number 2, fans are sick of the storyline. They're ready to move on. They're done with this Bloodline storyline. It's run its course, and that's okay. It's the natural order of things. And right now, WWE is forcing this storyline to continue for really, I don't know what payoff. The Rock? I don't want to see him champion. So that's number 2. Number 3, you are taking opportunities away from guys on Raw. There's no championship that exists on Raw. The top championship, right? You have the United States. I understand that. But I'm talking about top world championship, world heavyweight championship. It doesn't exist. That's a problem. That is a massive problem. And I think one of the biggest problems, and I think you'd hear a lot less complaining from fans, even like myself, if you just took one of the belts off of Roman, stuck it on Raw, have Roman Reigns continue his streak, because he still can, don't forget, like 500 of those, 600 of those days that he has right now are only with the Universal. About 100 or so are with the WWE and Universal. So if he were to be stripped of one of the belts, WWE, you could continue the streak, no problem. It's just, we're over it. And then the problem is also Roman Reigns, his championship matches are announced like 2 or 3 months in advance. And in the interim, even if he defends it, it's not going to be dropped. I mean, he's going to retain. There's no fun in his matches, because very few times have you pointed to a match and gone, oh man, Roman could actually lose here. It ain't happening. It's been Drew McIntyre who had the best chance, and then there's everybody else. Brock gone. Rey Mysterio had a chance at one point. Kevin Owens 4 times. You knew he was going to win. All this. So all right. Well, all right. So this is fun. I'm kind of debating with you, even though you're not here. So, all right, let's get to the next one.
I'm back again, and here we're going to jump right back in. Now, Matt, this one's for you. Now, me and you did the weekend review show back in January 2021. You got to rewind way back then, back when Edge, Sting, Randy Orton, all that was circulating during the COVID era. Now, me and you had a conversation about Roman Reigns. And what did me and you both say, Matt? That we hope this is a historic run. We hope WrestleMania comes around, he's still champion. WrestleMania in Dallas comes around, he's still champion. We talked about that, and you said that you was on board for it.
All right, let me stop right there. I normally don't cut off. I normally don't cut off voicemails, but I got to stop right there. Probably did. I'm not disputing that I never said that, right? I probably did say that, but didn't you just tell me it was January of 2021? That's like that's nearly 2 years ago. That was a different world, right? Like, and I probably did say I want him to go to WrestleMania. I want this to be a historic run, and I still do. Nothing's changed there. The problem is now in the execution of overkill. Like, you made your point. Roman went to WrestleMania. Boom, defense. No problem. Defended it against Daniel Bryan and Edge. Won. He stacked him and he beat him. Great. And then he went to WrestleMania this year, smashed Brock Lesnar, beat him. Great. No problem. Right? But again, in 2021, we were only a year and change into his run. And we were enjoying it. Right? You fast forward and double that time. It's now become a little egregious. I mean, I don't disagree that I said that, but you're talking about something that I spoke about nearly 2 years ago. Of course I said that, and I still want it to be historic. Yes, make it historic. But how much more historic can you make it beyond just tacking days on to get to 1,000? And by the way, artificially making it 1,000 because he isn't there on a regular basis. And yeah, you know what? That's a legit complaint. Even if people who think that that's not a complaint, it is one. Even though you don't want it to be one, that doesn't change the fact that it's a legitimate complaint. Okay, so people that are out there, oh, he's not there on a regular basis. But you know what? He should be in this day and age. I understand back in the day you had the NWA champion. He would float between territories. You barely saw him. I understand that. Different time. In today's era, that the champion should be there almost every week. Almost. Not every, but almost. Because it's a different world. Okay? It's a different era of professional wrestling. So I know that people love to try to discredit that argument or just say that it's not one, but having somebody tell me it's not an argument doesn't make it less of an argument. It just means that you don't want it to be one. Anyway, Okay, let's see what else you have to say here.
Along with a lot of fans who was on Discord that said, yeah, that would be great. Guess what? You're getting that. Don't get mad because you're getting it now. Don't back off and say, oh, man, I'm sour on it now. This is old. It's not. Be happy. WWE listened to you guys. But guess what? Now we finicky. Now we want to say, no, I don't want this anymore. But guess what? You're going to keep getting it.
Okay, well, once again, Mr. Casual Wrestling fan. Yeah, just because we're telling WWE we want something, and then they give it to us, and then we say, no, we don't want that. Sometimes that happens on a very kind of fickle, blow at the wind type of fan. I'm not one of those, okay? I'm not saying I'm better than any fans, but I'm of the belief that if I tell WWE I want something and then they give it to me, I'm appreciative, but I also understand that there's an expiration to what I want. Like, pro wrestling is a living organism. It doesn't mean that just because I say I want something now and that I get it, that I'm going to want it all the time for the next 6 years. Like, it's not a in perpetuity request. Like, it's something that I think is a good idea in the short term. It doesn't mean forever, right? Like, they gave me what I wanted in January 2021. If WWE was listening to my podcast and they said, okay, buddy, you want it? You got it, pal. And then we get from January 2021 to January 2022, and he's still champion through WrestleMania 38, and SummerSlam he's still champion, and here we are, September 22nd, 2022. That doesn't mean that my want from 2021 should stand forever. I mean, that's not, it would be like ordering a food you really like, right? Say, you know what? Say, I really wish that McDonald's would bring back the snack wraps, right? Which they should, by the way. But if McDonald's bring back the snack wraps, I mean, we'd be really happy, right? They do what I say. I'm just like, oh, great. Doesn't mean I'm going to want one every day for the next 4 years. It means that I want it. I think it's a good idea to bring it back. I am thinking long term. But you also have to realize as you go, you have to learn and adapt and change. And if snack wraps suddenly aren't good anymore, I'm not going to go get them. Right? Okay. I think I made my point. But this is fun. Let's continue.
Number 2 point. I don't like, and no shot, this is just honest. I don't like how you was on the state of the WWE, and you guys were saying that this was a manufactured run, a manufactured WWE championship. No, Liv Morgan is manufactured. That's a manufactured run over Ronda Rousey, who she didn't beat, but kind of beat, but didn't beat, and she's claiming, oh, I'm not the only person to beat you twice. Yeah, totally. You tapped out the first time, you cashed in the second time, and got lucky. As a heel playing face, and the crowd almost turned on. So let's be clear. That's manufactured.
Okay, first, let me actually agree with you on the Liv Morgan run. I'm not impressed. I actually do like Liv a little bit more than you. I wouldn't fall head over heels for Liv. I don't think she's the greatest thing ever. I think they kind of screwed her first championship run up a little bit. Saying she beat Ronda when all the fans know that she really didn't. And the thing is also, not only did they not do a great job with this and not making her a credible champion, which nearly had the crowd turn on her, as you said, but also they didn't execute the Ronda Rousey heel turn correctly. Like, everything got screwed up with this. And now you have a place where Ronda's back to being a solid babyface and Liv looks like the credible, lucky champion, where she's, bragging about beating Ronda, but she really didn't straight out beat her. But okay, so you now want to bring up the fact of manufactured runs. Now, when I say manufactured, I don't mean in the Liv Morgan sense where she's champion, but she really shouldn't be. No. I mean they're maybe inflating the number of days, artificially inflating the number of days he's champion is more accurate, because what they've done is, now that he has gone on this much more part-time schedule, and again, I'm not angry about that for him. As a fan, though, it's really kind of egregious when you have a championship match that you want to get to in 3 months, and you announce it on Monday Night Raw. You've automatically added like 90 days to his run without him lifting a finger. And the fans know instantly that anything that happens between now and that 30 days or 60 days or 90 days doesn't matter. You might as well just add 90 or 60 days to the total you're at now, because that's at minimum what you're going to get. That to me is artificial inflation, because it's saying to fans, we have this championship match coming up for Roman. Why would we announce it a month, 2 months, 3 months ahead in time if in fact he's going to lose the belt in the interim? Ain't going to happen. That's what I mean by manufactured. I guess artificially inflating the number of days is a better way to put it than if somebody was there traditionally on a week-to-week basis. That's what I mean. But okay, let's continue.
That's a manufacturer run. You can say, oh, they just trying to make this person. No. Roman Reigns has credible wins over huge, soon-to-be legends, soon-to-be Hall of Famers, Brock Lesnar, Rey Mysterio, Edge, Daniel Bryan, Braun Strowman, if you consider him a soon-to-be Hall of Famer. The Fiend. It's several people he has credible wins over that we got to acknowledge. So I don't like to use that word, oh, he's a manufactured champion. No, people like to live more than it's manufactured. Roman Reigns is the current GOAT, honestly. He's the current GOAT of our era. This is your Stone Cold. This is The Rock. These are that caliber superstar.
Whoa. Whoa. Let's pause the brakes on the Stone Cold talk, okay? He may be, in terms of filling that top spot, in the same spot as Austin or Rock, meaning you got to have a top guy. But he is far from the success of The Rock or Austin. I'm not saying he's not in the same stratosphere. He's very successful. He is on a career run. If he stopped today, he is a Hall of Famer. No question about it. No debate. But everybody that's in the Hall of Fame, just because you're in the Hall of Fame doesn't put you on equal footing. Nor does being even the face of the company put you on equal footing with somebody like Stone Cold or The Rock. There is no one in the entire industry of professional wrestling, past or present, in any industry, any promotion, I would challenge anyone on this, that burned hotter than Stone Cold Steve Austin. No one. Hogan burned longer. Rock burned a little bit longer. Taker burned much longer. None of them. Roman Reigns included, John Cena included. Nobody burned hotter than Stone Cold Steve Austin, where it was a unanimous 100% support for this guy. Like, Roman Reigns has the mixed reactions. Of course, his babyface run was an unmitigated disaster. The heel run has revived his career, no doubt about it. I have no issue with him as a performer, as a wrestler in the ring. None of that. But let's pause the brakes on the Stone Cold talk. All right, I think people forget just how popular he was. I mean, he sold out. Every arena was sold out. Everywhere he went, he was a mega star. He was a household name. Is Roman Reigns a household name? Getting there. I mean, I would say it's starting to bleed in a little bit. You know, we're not quite there, but to say he's our Stone Cold is, I mean, that's a bit of an exaggeration. I understand the analogy that you're going with. I get that, but I think you need to remember just how popular and hot and just on fire Stone Cold Steve Austin was. Where Roman Reigns is a big star in WWE, but like people, again, and I think a lot of it has to do with the ratings. Like also the ratings back in the late 90s were like 7 times what they are now. You know, so there's also that too. But all right, let's continue on and see what else you have to say. Let's finish it out.
Even though he's heel, he's got the top selling merchandise. When his name is on the marquee, you sell out. And what more can you want from your WWE champion but for him to be somebody that put asses in seats? That's what he does every week after week. And we have to appreciate that. When he's on the show, everybody tunes in and everybody cares. So let's be clear. Now, I'm going to call right back in last time, Matt. Keep working with me on this one. I know I'm talking bad, but that's okay. So one more time, y'all. Right back after this.
Now, I know you have one more call, but let me respond before we get to that. I know, guys, this is taking quite a lot of time from our our normal calls, but I think this is fun. I've never done this before where I've had a kind of a delayed debate with somebody. It's fun. So, all right. Well, he does put asses in seats. Is he the needle mover that Stone Cold was? No. Is he the needle mover that The Rock was? No. Is he in the conversation to say that he is the top needle mover in WWE, period? Probably, yeah. But again, not at that level yet with Austin and Rock. I don't think anyone will ever touch that again. That's just almost an unattainable level with how big they were, just how legendary they were. But yeah, so again, Roman Reigns, is he actually selling out arenas himself? No. Is he a top selling merchandise guy? Yeah. But so was Bray Wyatt, and he was a heel, at least on paper. That's the problem, is like true heels don't exist. Like if you're a true heel, people wouldn't want to buy your merchandise because they don't want to be associated with you. They just want to see you get your ass kicked. Again, that kind of ties back to heels don't really exist in pro wrestling anymore. It's very rare that they come around. So anyway, all right, let's see what your final call has to say, and we will wrap this up.
Last point. I'm going to give you guys the future of the WWE Undisputed Championship. Number one, Roman Reigns will not be losing the belt. He will hold the belt till next year's WrestleMania and beyond. I see him holding it until SummerSlam of next year. So get ready. Number two, I don't believe there'll be no Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. At Survivor Series. I think that's conjecture. And plus, if we remember, Seth Rollins already got his single one-on-one match against Roman that he won by disqualification. But so what? So I know everybody wants to see Seth with the belt. I know everybody keeps saying, please split the belts. We want the belt on both. Guess what? Not going to happen, as Stone Cold would say. It stands on Roman Reigns. Oh, my God, what about the other superstars? Guess what? If this is really a professional sport like we say, or if it's wrestling, then guess what? On football teams, some people ain't the number one. Some people are the number two. And that's just what you got to understand sometimes. Number three, you guys have to get ready for this.
So you don't believe that you really believe that the fans are going to put up and Triple H isn't going to react to the fans absolutely losing their between now and next SummerSlam? Like, you think a year from now he would have just lost the championship? I have my doubts. Now, I have been of the idea that they want to get to their 1,000 days and they will go through hell or high water to get there. And when you look out to what those 1,000 days put you at, it's like the end of May of 2023. So what do I think? It's possible they do that just to get to 1,000 days and they can make a whole documentary out of a 1,000-day reign. All that. Sure. I could see them doing that. But through SummerSlam, man, oh man, the fans are going to, it may really get to the point where fans just hijack every match that Roman Reigns is in, like until they force Triple H's hand to do something. I would be more on board with your theory if Vince McMahon were in charge. If Vince McMahon were in charge, it would be a Roman Reigns at WrestleMania taking on Roman Reigns. Like, he would find a way to clone Roman Reigns and face himself at WrestleMania. But luckily that's not the case, and we have somebody in charge that seems to be a much more in tune with the fans, or at least, I hate to say giving us what we want, because that sounds very spoiled, even though ultimately that's what they should do because we're paying customers. But again, Seth Rollins as champion is a much more attractive thing. And not seeing the value in having a champion on Raw, especially when you are going to be continuing the brand split. And apparently if there's a draft coming, why would you want one guy to hold both belts where he's there every 5 or 6 Monday Night Raws, and then you have a SmackDown that he's there maybe once a month, and he takes every other pay-per-view off now. Now he adopted that schedule like several months ago, and I think fans started to really get frustrated with that. And yes, people cheer when he's there and all that, but I just don't think this is a good idea to continue it past Survivor Series. Do I think they will? Probably. I wouldn't. There's some unfinished business with Seth and Roman. And don't forget, we also have Seth Rollins continuing to try to declare he's going after that championship, and then he gets interrupted. So this isn't me just conjecturing. This is what's actually happening. Like, Seth Rollins continues to get interrupted, and once he gets past Riddle, I think you will see Seth finally set his sights on Roman Reigns because there's unfinished business. Of course, they have a history in the Shield, but don't forget what happened at last year's Survivor Series. I'm not saying he's going to win at Survivor Series. I thought that there's a chance. I said that that's the next opportunity if that's the match that happens, that Roman Reigns could actually lose. Right? That's one of the few that we've had with Drew, the most recent, where you look at it and go, yeah, it'll probably be a good match, but you know what the ending's going to be. So you just focus on the quality of the match rather than the outcome. So it kind of takes a lot of the fun out of it. This is another match, if it happens, of Roman and Drew, or rather Roman and Seth, that you could say, there's a little fun here. Okay, let's see what else you got for me.
That Roman will be champion. Now, I really don't much think The Rock is going to be there. I don't think The Rock's coming, just to be real. I think you're going to have Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. I think you're going to have Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and probably a rematch at SummerSlam, just to be honest. Now, I know you guys don't want to hear that, but that's what's going to happen. Roman Reigns will be your champion. Will be your champion. Continuing, moving forward, past 1,000. This is an epic run. Hall of Fame caliber run. This puts him on the map. He deserves it. Nobody else is a bigger draw right now than Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins ain't a bigger draw than Roman Reigns. The Fiend ain't a bigger draw than Roman Reigns. Believe it, The Fiend, he's not even there. Braun Strowman's not. Bobby Lashley's not. Cody Rhodes not. Drew McIntyre's not. Nobody's a bigger draw than the head of the table, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Nobody sells more merchandise than Roman Reigns. Nobody puts more ass in seats than Roman Reigns. And that's why he's your champion. So for everybody calling me and say, I want to split the belts. Oh, the Raw need a belt. No, they don't. Because they don't have nobody that draws like Roman Reigns.
Okay. So you're missing a couple of points here. Number one, if Roman Reigns were to continue this, and he's getting cheered right now, they are missing out because you're saying this is all about the legendary run. Number one, just pushing somebody through to 1,000 days and beyond just to get to that number doesn't necessarily make it a legendary run. I think it already is, but say this wasn't, and they were trying to just continue a title, a championship run, and only focusing on the number of days while people were just so over that person who's being champion. This is the problem. Like, WWE is telling us it's a legendary run, but do the fans believe it's a legendary run? And is adding more days to this helping or hurting? Like, it's run its course for most fans. Most fans, it's run its course. And I also think that you're missing out on Roman Reigns' babyface opportunity because now fans have had 2 years to hate him. So if he drops the belts, I think that even one of them somehow, that you'll have a much more softened look at Roman where they won't be so angry and frustrated with creative. And I think that you have an opportunity, a really big opportunity to turn him babyface. I mean, he's already, like I said, 3 times now, he's already getting cheered until he starts speaking and, the Usos start speaking and then you're reminded, oh yeah, I want somebody to beat this guy. But, I think that right now, you are missing out on a potential Roman Reigns babyface turn, which, again, I'm not rushing it, but it feels kind of like the heel turn has almost kind of run out of gas. Do I dare say the juice is out of the orange here? Have we squeezed all the juice out? I think we're getting close. We're getting very close. And I think the bubble's about to burst here where fans, if they continue this and continue this and continue this, the fans will hijack Roman Reigns' championship opportunities and championship matches, especially when they do it in Philly or New York or Chicago or wherever. Any of those big markets, the fans are going to lose their minds. So to me, that's what I think is a possibility. Second point, Roman Reigns is the only one that draws. Well, how about you give somebody else an opportunity? How do you know that Kevin Owens can't draw like Roman if they put the belt on Kevin and gave him the push that they gave Roman? How do you know they can't do that with Seth? Vince McMahon isn't there anymore. Means different ideas, different approaches, different ways to do things. So we don't need to just box ourselves into, well, we don't know that. We've seen Seth as champion. We've seen Kevin as champion. Look what Kevin Owens has done in the last 5 weeks, with Vince McMahon gone and Triple H in charge. He has become the highlight of Monday Night Raw. I'm not saying that Kevin Owens is going to be the face of WWE or go on some legendary run like Kevin Owens or like Roman Reigns. My point is, how do you know with certainty that there's nobody that if you gave them the same opportunity that you gave Roman, that could do the same things as Roman, or at least have a successful run as well? I mean, you don't. I mean, it may not happen right away, but Roman's success didn't happen right away. God knows that didn't happen overnight. I mean, there was a lot of pain and several years of a terrible babyface run and all that. But the only way you know is to try. And right now, they're going with the safe option and the frustrating option of having Roman Reigns continue on. So, all right, let's finish this out, and we'll call it a night here. So, what's your final point there, Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan?
So I'm going to end it right here. Pretty sure you got plenty of rebuttal, man. That's okay, but I want to even this out. Because last week I was kind of heavy on Roman. I didn't appreciate that. And real quickly before I end this, Baltimore Kyle, stop ragging on Bianca Belair. You've been doing that for too long. You was a big Sasha fan. I love that. But Bianca Belair will be your champion until next year's WrestleMania as well. I see her holding the belt. She's a great champion. We met her in person. She's great. But that's all I got. I'm ending it right here. I hope everybody has a great week. And guess what? You the two, and we the one.
Boy, if you were in charge of creative, would anyone ever lose their championships ever? Like, I mean, there would be like decade-long championship runs. Like, the only way anyone would lose their championship is if they died. You know, like death would be the only way that you would excuse a championship exchange. But Bianca Belair, like I think that she ran into a rough patch as champion to where the point where fans almost turned on her. She's revived herself a bit with Bayley. I think she finally has a nice dancing partner. Do I think she's going to lose to Bayley at Extreme Rules? I think there's a chance. I don't think it'll happen, immediately, but I think Bayley is absolutely a possibility to beat Bianca Belair because they're trying to really establish Damage Control as a force to be reckoned with, and they would then have all the gold. Factions seem to be the name of the game for Triple H, and I love it. But Bayley is not a slouch, right? Like, Bayley just returned. She's she's still fresh on the minds of fans, and I think she's a real threat to Bianca. I don't think Bianca should, or rather we as fans should look at this and say, well, it's Bayley versus Bianca. We've seen this before. No, like, Bayley is reinvigorated. She's reinvented. She's part of a new group. Usually you put people who are parts of new groups in prominent positions and put gold on factions of people in factions that you want to elevate. There's an argument to be made for Bayley to be champion. This is not just your typical, well, we know what the outcome is. You can't say that. I don't know. I'm not very certain about Bianca retaining, but all right. Well, this has been a very interesting mailbag. I didn't expect to turn into this, but I couldn't listen to 3 voicemails in a row and not respond in between. It just would have been too much information and too much frustration. So this was interesting. Thank you, Mr. Casual Wrestling Fan. I think you feel as passionate about this as I do, but on the opposite end. So, all right. Well, very good. Thank you, everybody, for contributing. If you want to contribute and you haven't before, the details of how to get in contact with the show are in the detail or in the show notes of this episode. The email and the voicemail number is there. You can call in and voice your opinions. They must agree with mine, by the way. That's a rule. You cannot disagree with anything I say, as you heard here. So, all right. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. I will be back on Sunday night with your week in review. Until then, take care. I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.